Okay, Tommy. So we are at the first OAC combine.
Mm-hmm.
Kerry Colette's the clinician. I heard him recognize you. You know, they
Yeah.
recognize you as a two-time NCAA champ.
Yeah.
He's a two-time NCAA champ. But what do you think of the clinic so far in the combine?
I think it's great. Great concept. I'm glad the OAC is behind it, and everyone's obviously putting their best energy into it. Guy Seiko's involved. It's just a good thing. I think Kerry Colette's a great way to kick off the combine. I think every action, every word out of his mouth is very purposeful. You know, his shirt's wringing wet at the end of practice. So the type of energy he's bringing into this, and then his reputation obviously precedes itself. So really cool to see all these kids getting together at this time of year and staying on the mat and staying active.
It's obviously been super difficult for everybody. I was actually talking to Kerry. You know, his kids' schools have been shut down all year. They live in Maryland. It's just been really hard to get kids training, to get kids in school.
Yeah.
Some people are in person, some are online. How have you guys been able to navigate COVID, shutdowns, not being able to train? What have you guys been able to do?
I think it's been difficult for sure. We've been fortunate in two ways. One being that our kids go to private schools, so they were in school every day since mid-August, so they've had a full day of school all year. And then also we have our own private facility, so we were only restricted to what the government had in front of us as opposed to any institutional interpretation of how to handle COVID. So we were in the least amount of high-pressure situations to make tough decisions, but it's still been difficult. But I was happy that we had a wrestling club this year, 75 kids, had practice a few times a week, got 40 matches in. So overall, I think it's been a good thing, but it's nice to see everything lifting out in the state of Ohio. You know, within a few weeks, we'll be completely back to normal, at least you would think, right? So I feel like the worst part's clearly behind us, and we're just trying to get back to normal.
We did not have anything OAC when we were growing up, right? It came right after we were high schoolers, right? What do you think your kids have benefited from being able to wrestle in OAC events?
I think one thing that I like most about it is I think it's important for kids at any level to have a target, to have a goal, an end goal. And OAC really provides that aspirational thing at the end of the year that is there's some pageantry around it, and it's also very competitive. And so, you know, I've always told some of our parents, you know, I never really knew where I stood in the state, in the region, or in the country until I got to the cadet level, because there wasn't anything overly organized that made you feel like, you know, you're sticking your flag in the ground on where you stood in the pecking order. And I think the OAC Ohio State tournament does that. And then within that, you know, there's obviously competition outside of that. So I just think it's good to have something that feels official for this age. And I think it's benefited the kids that have aspirations and want to have result-oriented goals. I think it's been a good thing.
Tommy actually won the OAC this year, right?
That's correct, yeah.
So he won D3, I want to say, right?
Yes.
I think I called his match. Won D3. It's really tough to win the OAC because there's no divisions. Like, where if you're Division 3 for Reedy, you're D3 in Ohio.
Right.
And as people know, D3 is not as deep as the other divisions.
Right.
But the stars that have come out of D3, you being one of them, Jaggers being another one, Steber Brothers, I can keep going, right?
Right.
So that's like the thing that people have always said about D3. The depth just isn't the same.
Yeah.
But like, he wins something that's super deep, and there's no divisions.
Right.
What do you think that does to you guys moving forward? As far as we're going to go to Watterson. Watterson sounds like the deal.
It's the deal.
Whatever Watterson is, if they're 1, 2, or 3, they're D2. It doesn't matter to you guys.
Yeah. No.
But like, you look at it that, like, you know, that was always the knock on D3.
Yeah.
You guys proved in college you were pretty good, even though you won D3 state cups. But what do you think of the whole divisions together concept?
I like it. I mean, I think it's a good thing. I mean, I think in a perfect world, if I had the magic wand, I think Ohio should be probably 2 divisions in the state at the high school level. Maybe one's a little too much, but
Agree.
2 would be nice to see. But at the same time, you know, Tommy's not old enough to understand, comprehend, or care that it's 1 division or 3 or whatever. You know, he's just got a goal in mind, and he wants to make sure that he reaches it. And so I think that for that reason, as you get older, you know, I think the kids that are uber competitive, they just make sure that they're aligned with their goals, and they make sure that they're close to getting them. So I think that to some degree, it's just about perspective. And I think that's what you could say to Logan Steber or Jaggers or myself coming up in D3 in Ohio is, you know, the best I could do was win the state in Division 3. So I was going to make sure that I did that. I don't know that if I was in Division 1, the outcome might not have been any different, right? So you're just making sure that you can keep up with the expectations that you have of yourself. And so in a lot of ways, I think that that's relevant.
Okay. Full dad mode. You are, just what my observations, I don't see any psychopathic parent tendencies at all. When you're in the corner, when you're coaching other people's kids, when you're coaching your kids, I don't see any of that.
Right.
How are you able to do that? Is that just how you're geared? How are you able to do that? I need to bottle and sell it or whatever it is.
I have a lot of conversations with a lot of dads and other coaches about this. And, my instinct, who I am as a person is to be all in emotionally and be incredibly focused on the results. So any behavior that I have that suggests otherwise is because I feel like it's the right thing. It's a discipline to not be into it and crazy into it. I just don't know that I don't believe that these kids need to see that side, especially out of their dad, but even out of their coach at this age. They need to associate wrestling with a pursuit that they enjoy, and not a measuring stick on every minute, day-to-day basis, where they're being measured and their identity is formed around their performance for the day, the week, the month, or whatever it might be. And so I'm talking out of both sides of my mouth a little bit because I love that there is something at the end of the year to strive for and to work for. And I think that having an expectation and a goal is important. But if you live in it every single day at that age, I think it gets old pretty quick. As an adult, that is actually how I think, right, wrong, or indifferent. And so, I try to be laid back, and I do that on purpose. I'm glad that if it comes off that way, but
it does.
But it's certainly not. It's not because I'm that way. It's because I think it's the right way to be. You know what I mean? I'm fiercely competitive, and I look forward to the day that my oldest son is old enough to where being all in emotionally and physically 365 days a year is aligned with what he wants for himself, and he's old enough to have a singular focus on something. I'm excited if that day ever comes. I think it will, but if that day ever comes, I'm excited about that. It's more natural for me to be invested in that way as opposed to the way that I think we ought to be and we need to be for these kids when they're 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, even 13. It gets to a point where they reach an age of reason, in my opinion, and it becomes theirs. When wrestling becomes theirs is when they should probably be making those types of decisions. And so you can't say that wrestling's theirs at age 11. It's yours and theirs, and you're trying to guide them through the process. So I don't want to be so fiercely driven on their behalf that they associate some negative connotation around the sport or around me. So I think about it a lot. It is not easy. It's a discipline every day, and I come up short a lot, quite honestly. You know what I mean? But at the same time, my wife and I talk about it, and we think it's an important thing to have that balance in their lives and in ours.
So you got 3 sons and a daughter.
Mm-hmm.
How do you treat the daughter? She's soccer, right?
Yeah.
How do you treat her soccer compared to you treating their wrestling? You're an NCAA champion in wrestling 2 times. Olympic alternate. Highest level, multiple times state champ, Bargo champ, the whole 9 yards. And then your wife played soccer in college. Mm-hmm. You didn't play soccer in college.
Right.
How do you treat her ventures compared to their ventures?
We don't treat them any differently, but we have 4 kids and they're all different. So, their journey is different. It requires, I think, a little bit of a different approach from us as parents to help them along. They might need some TLC where the other child doesn't. They might need pushed around or kicked around and questioned or challenged where the other kid does not. And so we view sports, my wife and I, as a platform or foundation for our kids to be fully functioning adults that are accountable and responsible people and understand what it means to work hard, and they've succeeded and they've failed and they appreciate both, and so with each child it's a little different. She's our oldest, so she's a little bit more advanced in her thoughts. I mean, I think soccer is becoming hers, just like we talked about a little bit ago, and because it's becoming hers, my wife and I are probably a little bit less involved and more like mom and dad than we ever have been with her when it comes to soccer. And I think that's by design. That's the plan. I mean, I think at some point, if the parents are driving the car, I mean, it's not going to work out so well. So I'm
Gotta
glad.
hand the keys off sometime, right?
Yeah, and I think 14's about that time. Plus
She's freshman this year.
She will be a freshman. Yeah.
Be a freshman at Reading.
Yeah,
Or no,
Watterson.
at Watterson.
Yep.
I didn't mean to confuse.
That's okay.
Because you got to live in the district, and it's a crazy thing.
Yeah, we've
whatever.
talked about that.
It's so wild. But anything else? You got anything else for me? Are we gonna see return to podcasting?
No, too busy. But I think the third OAC combine is at our wrestling facility. So Watterson has their own.
It's at Watterson.
It's not at Watterson. It's Watterson's wrestling facility.
Where's that?
It's in Dublin. And so
where's Watterson?
It's 2 miles north of Ohio State's campus in
So
Clintonville.
it's Columbus.
Columbus, yeah.
It's Columbus
and then,
proper.
And then I would say the Dublin, Powell, Hilliard area probably draws most of the Watterson students. And then Clintonville, that area that Watterson is on, also has a good draw. But we're going to host the third one. I think Thatcher and the Crazy Goats are the hosts. I think Logan Stevers is going to participate as well. So we'll see you down there for sure.
Awesome. All right. Do you have anything else for me?
No, thanks for everything.
Dude, thank you for the time. Really cool shirt.
Thanks, man.
Wrestling in every language.
Wrestling in almost every language, yeah.
That's Borba, right?
So.
Is that Borba? I see Borba.
Body-ba.
Borba.
Body-ba is the
Yeah.
wrestling.
Yeah,
Russian.
Ruski. Okay.
Yeah.
What else do we got there? Is that,
I don't know.
Is that? Oh my God. Farsi.
Yeah, I see Farsi.
Oh my gosh, that's a. All right. Hey, thank you for the
Thanks,
time.
appreciate it.
Good luck to you guys moving forward. All right.
All right, Zeb, thanks.